The next question is, what is the journal entry for AP invoice in Oracle Fusion? Like, well, while creating a supplier invoice, once you created the invoice and validated, then you can run the post to ledger one option, or at the end of the period, or you can create anytime, create accounting program. Okay, so by the time you can create journal entry for the invoice, that we know. But can you tell me what is the journal entry for AP invoice? So answer is like item expense account data to supplier liability account. Item expenses nothing but whatever the item we selected. Okay, item expenses account. That next one is supplier liability account. That could be account payable account, where we configured it the common options. First option. And if you configured a separate liability account for your supplier, then that will be considered as a supplier liability account for your invoice. Okay, that is the first journal entry for AP invoice. And what is the payment invoice for same against the invoice? Like, if you have done the payment against the invoice, then what is the entry will be created? Supplier liability account data to cash clearing account. So here what happens, why when we create a invoice, when we create an invoice, the supplier liability will be credited, showing that we are liable to pay some of amount to the supplier. Now you have created a payment voucher and you are ready to pay the amount on the invoice. Then account the liability account will be reversed. That should be zero. The previous liability whatever we created, that should be cleared now. So for that, here the supplier liability account will be reversed. So previous it was credited, now it will be debited. And cash clearing. The cash clearing is a temporary account where, so let's say if you create some payment voucher, okay, immediately payment may not be happen. So for the reconciliation purpose, we used to maintain cash clearing account. Once the reconciliation is done, then it will be transformed to real cash account. So next you can see what is the final entry of account payable, like invoice or payment. The payment, what is the for the payment, what is the final entry? So final entry will be for the entire process, like invoice creation, payment process. For the final entry, once payment has been done and the amount is deducted from your account, then the our clearing account, whatever cash clearing account is created, that will be reversed. Okay, that will be cleared, and in that place you can see cash account, original bank account will be replaced. So that will happen at the reconciliation level. And so cash clearing account, debit, and original cash account, cash or bank account will be credited. So that is what we have showcased here. Okay, original cash account is credited, supplier liability, item expenses debited. So item expenses is there, supplier liability account is credited here and debited. It is knocked off, and the clearing account is here. It is credited, and here it is debited. Now it is knocked off. The only thing we have, item expense account debit, cash account credit. That is what we have. Okay. The next question: is it possible to adjust a paid invoice, like irrespective of with respect to change account, charge account? Okay, we have a charge account at invoice. Okay, it was already paid. So can we change the account distribution account for the invoice? So that was the question. Now answer is yeah. We can we can change the we can adjust the paid invoice, but not directly. Okay, that we have to do some some limitations we have, and we have to follow some specific steps. So first thing what we have to do, create a credit memo, and against the invoice, just create a credit memo, and we can create a new invoice with the same code combination. Okay, then the original whatever we got, whatever we want to apply the original charge account, that will be applied with the new invoice. The old invoice will be cleared. Okay, yeah. So here is the answer. Yeah, we can adjust the paid invoice. Okay, but we have to follow the uh, steps. Like first we have to create a credit memo. Okay, then here you can see first thing we have to create a credit memo. Then you can now create a new invoice, and make sure that adjusting account should be use the same invoice pay for the paid invoice. Okay, so for that, first first very thing, like invoice options level, we have to uh, just okay. Next question. Can we cancel the reconciled payment invoice? Okay, can we cancel the reconciled payment invoice? So no, we cannot cancel the reconciled payment invoice. But we have another way. So what we can do is, first you can go to cash management. You can unreconcile the payment. Okay, you can there we have option to unreconcile the reconcile transactions. First you have to unreconcile the payment, then we can do the void payment of the transaction. When you done the unreconciled, then the payment will be changed to negotiable. Okay, so then they what we have to do is like negotiable payments you can do void payments. So then void payment done, then invoice will be open. Invoice will come as a open status, then you can cancel the invoice. So this is the process we can do for the reconciled payment invoice. Okay. Next question. Can we define the approvals for the payment in the Oracle Fusion? Do we have a option for approval for the payment process in Oracle Fusion? Yeah, we have the BPM workflow process. There we can configure the approval process, approval rules for the payment. Okay, then we can proceed with the payment processes with the approvals. The next question. Is it possible to restrict the payment method for particular business unit? That means can we restrict? Can we use particular payment method for only particular business units? Let's say we have multiple business units, and each business unit we want to maintain a separate payment terms. Is that possible in Oracle Fusion in AP module? Okay, yeah. So is that is possible? We can create a payment method. Okay, while creating payment method, you can configure at a payment method options level. You can select the business unit. Okay, at usages level, there you can select your business unit. Then it will be applied only for the particular business unit. So this is the activity we have to do. So while creating go to manage payment methods, there you can see usage rules. So at the usage rules level, you can select your required business unit, then it will be applied. The payment method, whatever you created, that will be applied to the particular business unit, whatever you are looking for. Okay, fine. Can we make a payment without validating the invoice? Question repeating. Can we make the payment without validating the invoice? So we cannot do any payments without validating the invoice. So once invoice is validated, then only it will be available for the payment. At a payment workbench, when you try to create a payment for the particular invoice or particular the supplier against the supplier, so once the invoice is validated, then only you can able to see the validated invoices for the payment process. Okay. Next question. Can we make the payment without accounting for the invoice? So the previous question is validation. So can we make the payment without validating the invoice? Now the question is, we have validated the invoices. Okay. Now we did not we did not accounted the invoice. Now can we do the payment now? Yes, we can do the payment now, but you cannot run the accounting for your payment. Payment you can create, but you cannot run the create accounting or post to ledger. You cannot run that program, or you cannot create a journal entry for the payment entry. Because if you want to run uh, create accounting, or if you want to post to ledger the payment transaction, before that the invoice should be created, invoice should be accounted. So when you try to uh, post to ledger your payment, if the invoice is the against invoice is not accounted, then system will throw the error. Checkbox will be well, I mean it will throw the checkbox. There it will be mentioned that invoice should be accounted before the payment accounted. Okay. Yeah. Next question. Can we override the supplier site once it is validated at invoice level? The question is, can we override the supplier site at invoice level? Okay, once the invoice is validated. Answer is no. Once you selected one invoice like a invoice and a supplier site, before validated, you should be changed. If it is not changed and if you have already validated, then you cannot change the supplier site once it is validated. Okay, right. The next question is, can we pay the partial payment to the prepayment invoices in invoice workbench? can we pay the partial payment to the prepayment invoices, okay, to the invoice workbench. So yes, we can apply the, okay, we can pay the partial payments and we can apply to prepayments to prepayment to invoice. Okay. So question is, can we pay the partial payment to prepayment invoices? Okay. So yeah, we can do that. The payment, normal payment, full payment or partial payments, that we can do the for the invoices as well, prepayment invoices. So whatever invoices are prepayment invoices, we can do the partial payments. Now, is it possible to create our own invoice in the account payable? Can we? Can we create our own invoice in account payable like AP module? Okay. Yeah. System will allow you to create your own invoice uh, while you are doing the practice. Okay. So you can create your own invoice. So making that uh, in general system will allow you whatever the invoice number field is a free text field. So everything you can create your own. The only thing is validation is, so audit process or invoice validation point, generally in the real time we used to compare with the, the validation process will be based on the original invoice. Okay. So that is the based on organization policies. If something we need to create a, our own invoice, then we can create. System will allow you to create your own invoice, but based on our organization policies and approval process, it will be dependent. And is it possible to cancel the multi-period accounting invoices in accounting payable? Is it possible to cancel the multi-period accounting invoices in AP? Okay. Yeah, we can cancel the multi-period accounting invoice. Okay. So if it is normally like it is the condition will be applied as per the normal invoice process. So as you cancel and as you delete the normal invoice, the same conditions, the same policy will be applied to the multi-period accounting as well. So the main condition is it should be it should not be paid or should not be accounted. Okay, then you can do the cancel it process. So yeah, and is it possible to create a multi-period accounting for day wise? So generally, we used to create a multi-period account concept for a month and month wise గా మనకి ఈ మల్టీ పీరియడ్ అకౌంటింగ్ ఎంపీ అంటారు, మల్టీ పీరియడ్ అకౌంటింగ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ రన్ చేస్తూ ఉంటాం. సో ఇక్కడ క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే, కెన్ వి క్రియేట్ మల్టీ పీరియడ్ అకౌంటింగ్ ఫర్ డే వైస్? ఓకే. సో యా, సో we can create for ఏమంటారు, let yeah, we can create it for multi-period transactions. You can create for day wise. Best example ఏంటంటే, if you buy a product at the middle of the month, okay, sir, sorry, if the agreement, whatever condition we want to apply for the purchase of something like a subscription, like or internet charges కానీ, లేకపోతే ఓటీటీ సబ్స్క్రిప్షన్ కానివ్వండి, ఏదైనా ఒక సబ్స్క్రిప్షన్ కానివ్వండి, ఏదైనా ఒక సర్వీస్ కానీ మనం మిడిల్ ఆఫ్ ద మంత్ if you take any subscription or if you take any purchases on middle of the month, then it will be closed another middle of the month. So then here we need to calculate a day wise, and so there we needed to calculate day wise. So for this what we have to do is, so అక్కడ మనకి సెటప్ లెవెల్లో పీరియడ్ అకౌంటింగ్ సెటప్ లో డే వైజ్ ఏమంటారు అక్కడ స్టార్ట్ డేట్ అండ్ ఎండ్ డేట్ ఉండదు. ఎఫెక్టివ్ స్టార్ట్ డేట్ అండ్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ ఎండ్ డేట్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవాలి. దెన్ వీ కెన్ ప్రాసెస్ ది మల్టీ ఎంపీఏ మల్టీ పీరియడ్ అకౌంటింగ్ ఇన్ డే వైజ్. Okay, example also I will post here. Yeah. So this is the example. You purchase yearly subscription service on January 15th and want to expense this cost evenly across the 12 periods. So then the 15th day, I mean next 15th days also, next 15 days also should be applied for the year. Okay. Yeah. Next question, Andy. Is it possible to change the start date, end date for the multi-period accounting invoice? So ఇంతకు ముందే అనుకున్నాం మల్టీ పీరియడ్ అకౌంట్ కి మనకి స్టార్ట్ డేట్ ఎండ్ డేట్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ మనం ఇచ్చిన స్టార్ట్ డేట్ ఎండ్ డేట్ బేస్ చేసుకుని మనం మల్టీ పీరియడ్ అకౌంటింగ్ రన్ చేయొచ్చు అని. సో ఇక్కడ క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే, నౌ వీ కెన్ we change the start date and the end date for the MPA invoices at any time? Okay, so the question is here. Answer is yeah. So once you created invoices, okay, it will be applied as normal condition. And normal invoice కు మనకి ఎలాంటి కండిషన్స్ అప్లై అవుతాయో సేమ్ కండిషన్స్ దీనికి కూడా అప్లై అవుతాయి. Once it is accounted, so the question is, once it is accounted, you cannot change anything. You cannot change any details accounted invoice. The same condition will be applied for your MPA invoice as well. The answer is you cannot do that. Okay. Once multi-period accounting invoice is posted and that means accounted, so generally you cannot change the start date or end date. Okay, this will become locked, right? So next question, is it possible to pay the invoice before the due date? Is it possible to make the payment before invoice due date? Okay, yes, we can do the payment. Okay, so payment terms level, if you don't object anything, then you can do the payment. So, and one more thing, one more option we have here. Previous sessions లో మిమ్మల్ని అడిగే క్వశ్చన్ ఇది. సో కరెంట్ డేట్ కాకుండా జనరల్ గా మీరు పేమెంట్ క్రియేట్ చేసేటప్పుడు వెన్ యూ ట్రై టు క్రియేట్ ఎ పేమెంట్, సిస్టమ్ విల్ నాట్ అలౌ యూ టు క్రియేట్ ఎ పేమెంట్ విత్ ప్రీవియస్ డేట్. ఓకే, సిస్టమ్ విల్ నాట్ అలౌ యూ టు క్రియేట్ ఎ పేమెంట్ విత్ ప్రీవియస్ డేట్. యూ షుడ్ సెలెక్ట్ కరెంట్ డేట్ ఓన్లీ. బట్ మనకి ఇన్వాయిస్ ఆప్షన్స్, సారీ పేమెంట్ ఆప్షన్స్ లో చేంజ్ పేమెంట్ డేట్, ఎంటర్ డేట్ అనేది ఒక అలౌ పేమెంట్ డేట్ ఓవర్ రైడ్ అని చెప్పి ఒక ఆప్షన్ ఉంటుంది. సో ఇఫ్ యూ ఎనేబుల్ ఇట్, దెన్ యూ కెన్ క్రియేట్ ఎ పేమెంట్ విత్ ప్రీవియస్ డేట్ ఆల్సో. ఓకే, మనకి అక్కడ ఇన్వాయిస్ సారీ పేమెంట్ ఆప్షన్స్ లో ఆ బటన్ ఎనేబుల్ చేస్తే దెన్ యూ కెన్ క్రియేట్ ఎ ప్రీవియస్ డేట్ పేమెంట్స్ ఆల్సో. If you don't enable that option at invoice option, then system will not allow you to create a payment with the previous dates. Okay, right. Next question. So how many ways we can create a prepayment in AP Oracle Fusion? How many ways we can create a prepayment invoice? సో మనకి జనరల్ గా ఇన్వాయిస్ క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి ఎన్ని పాసిబిలిటీస్ ఉన్నాయో, ఇన్వాయిస్ క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి ఎన్ని పాసిబిలిటీస్ ఉన్నాయో, ప్రీపేమెంట్ ఇన్వాయిస్ క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి కూడా అవే పాసిబిలిటీస్. దట్స్ ఈస్ మనకి మాన్యువల్ గా ఇన్వాయిస్ క్రియేట్ చేయొచ్చు, ప్రీపేమెంట్ ఇన్వాయిస్, అండ్ ఆల్సో ఎఫ్బిడే టెంప్లెట్ యూస్ చేసి ఇన్వాయిస్ బల్క్ ఇన్వాయిస్ లానే ఇంపోర్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. సేమ్ అక్కడ ఇన్వాయిస్ టైప్ వచ్చేసరికి ప్రీపేమెంట్ ఇన్వాయిస్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటాం. ఓకే, సో we have two options like manual entry and import, and manual entry and importing invoices through FBDA template. Okay,